Poor Choices turns 1 year old today. That's right, exactly 1 year ago today, some of you decided to watch me drunkenly make barbecue, and for whatever reason, you decided to stick around for the weekly train wreck. So we are here today toasting you. I've got Lou on the ones and twos, shaking and breaking it down. Today we are making honey chipotle wings. We're gonna make our honey chipotle sauce from scratch, and I just wanna say shout out to Mr. Make It Happen. When I was looking up my old school honey chipotle wing recipe, I found his, and his is way more simpler than mine. Gotta give credit where credit is due. We could not have done this without you, and we're looking forward to our terrible twos where we lie about everything, and maybe, just maybe, we'll make $100 for this channel. That's right, $100 we have not made yet, but it'll greatly offset the thousands of dollars we've already spent. I couldn't even afford decorations. All this is digital. All right, true to form as our original episode, I am just going to get plastered and try to stumble my way through this recipe, but luckily, this one is a lot easier. Starting out with a poor choice. Gotta celebrate with champagne. You know, when you're in your 30s, everything deserves champagne. You gotta get a good one, so this is Chandon, my favorite. But I've got my glass of Chandon here, and then of course, I'm going to be me, and I'm going to pour a shot of Ciroc peach in there, making it a Cirosa. No, that's not a real thing. I just made it up right off the spot. But two things I like, champagne and Ciroc peach. So, in a sense, I've made a very, very adult and unclassy Bellini. We've got 3 pounds of wings here that we're gonna use today, but first we have to make our seasoning slash type of breading type mix because we're gonna drop these into the deep fryer today. Normally I would grill these, but I'm not going to do that because it is dark outside. It's still February after all. To our seasoning mix for the wings, we're gonna start out with a teaspoon of black pepper. We're also gonna add a teaspoon of just some sea salt, teaspoon of granulated onion or onion powder, and a teaspoon of granulated garlic, or again, garlic powder. Just make sure it is not garlic salt. And then what I also want to add is our Kosmos honey chipotle killer bee. You can use any type of honey chipotle barbecue rub that you have. This is the one that I have on hand, but I know this is a really good one. So we're gonna add that because these are honey chipotle wings. And so for that, I'm gonna add a whole tablespoon because I want that to be the essence of the seasoning. I'm also gonna add a half teaspoon of ground cumin because cumin and chicken go together really well. And then lastly, just to kind of help get our skin extra crispy, we're gonna do 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. You could also use all-purpose flour, but I just feel like cornstarch kind of does a better job of crisping up that skin. And actually, before I add the second tablespoon, let me just give this a little whisk first, because we may not need that second tablespoon. We're not doing a lot of wings here. We are adjusting in real time. Yeah, this doesn't feel like we need that. So that is our seasoning for our chicken, and let's actually just go ahead and get that coated because we may have to make a few adjustments. This isn't exactly 3 pounds of chicken wings. It's maybe 2.8 pounds, I don't know. Just gonna pour it on. And then we just wanna get everything covered in that. And now what I wanna do is let this kind of just sit at room temp for a little bit while we get our sauce together, because we want this to have time for those seasonings to work in. So let me wash my hands, and then we're gonna start on our honey chipotle sauce. To a saucepan over medium heat, I have got 3 tablespoons of butter, just regular butter. Now your medium heat may be a little bit different from mine. I'm on an induction top, and I'm actually gonna lower it just a little bit. To this, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of dark brown sugar. Now what I want to do is just give this a good whisk. Then we're going to add about a tablespoon. I've got just a tube here of garlic, but you can use fresh minced garlic. I'm using the tube kind because I kind of want this garlic to really dissolve into the sauce. I want it just to be a pure sauce and nothing with clumps. So I've got about a tablespoon in there, probably a little bit more, but no one's really counting. This is one of those sauces where you just want to taste it and see what adjustments you want to make. I've got the juice of 2 small limes, but really you want about 2 tablespoons of lime juice. But because I'm using small limes, that's why I'm using two of them. But if you want, you can squeeze a couple limes and then just scoop out 2 tablespoons And again, every time we add something, we want to mix and mix and mix. Next, I've just got some apple cider vinegar. And we're just going to use 2 tablespoons of that. It's not a barbecue sauce without apple cider vinegar, although technically this is not a barbecue sauce because we haven't added any type of ketchup or tomato or even mayo base, but still, gotta have the apple cider vinegar in there. All right, next we have got 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. And then I'm also gonna pour in 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, which, again, shout out to Mr. Make It Happen. I definitely was not adding that to my honey chipotle sauce, so. And then my favorite part, we have got some chipotle peppers. I'm using a whole can of chipotle peppers, but normally I'm not big on like get the specific brand, but I like this brand because there's a lot of adobo sauce in this one. The very first time I made this, I used another brand that was like more chipotle pepper, onion, some other stuff, and not a lot of adobo, but that adobo is what really sets us off. So this brand right here, chipotle pepper, is what I am recommending you guys get. But maybe you have something locally that is of the same quality. I just wanted to point that out because if you get the wrong kind, it's more chunky and less adobo sauce, this sauce is gonna come out a little bit differently. So just keep that in mind. We are going all in. And then we just wanna give that a mix. I'm just gonna turn this heat off real quick of this induction top, and we're gonna take this over to the food processor. We've got that same mixture and we're just putting it right into the food processor. If you have a blender, you can do that. I like the food processor because it allows, ooh, let me get some of that. Let me get me a little spatula real quick. I like using the food processor because it allows that steam to escape. If any of you have ever put hot stuff into a blender before, then you have already paid the price. So let's just go ahead. We want to get all that goodness in, even though it's gonna go right back into this pot. All we're doing is just pulsing this until it becomes a smooth sauce. And again, if you guys have not invested in a food processor, just like the KitchenAid stand, I promise you this is absolutely worth it. And that's what we're looking for. Again, I want a smooth sauce. All right, so right back into our pot, and I want to scrape all that because that is all goodness. We have got our pan back on here. We poured the stuff from our food processor. It smells absolutely amazing, but we still need to add our honey. So right now what I want to do is just add 1/4 to at least half a cup of honey. And listen, you gotta taste it. Sometimes you might need a little bit more honey. All right, let's stir that in. All right, I just want to do pinky. All right, I don't think it needs nothing else, but it does need, I guess, a little bit of salt and pepper. But I've got this Kilo Hogs AP seasoning. You can use any all-purpose seasoning, which is just salt, pepper, garlic. But I'm gonna use this one because I just bought it today. And I only need a little bit. Maybe half a teaspoon, if that. But sometimes you just can't measure it out. Sometimes you just gotta do a little bit, taste, a little bit, taste. Yeah, yeah. This on ribs would be really good. Or a burger. Like I make that Chipotle burger, but this like glaze on the burger when it's done and then all the other stuff would be really, really good. Let's turn that off. We're gonna get this off the heat. We'll put it back there just so it's not on a hot surface. Our oil is around 360 degrees. If you are at home and you do not have a deep fryer, it is okay. Just get a big ass pot, put some vegetable oil in it and get it up to there. You can use a thermometer like this, a meat thermometer. You can poke it in there and just see what the temperature is. Or you can have a candy thermometer. It'll tell you what the temperature is. The only thing about if you're on a stove top is once you drop your chicken in there, you gotta turn that heat up because anytime you put stuff into the oil, it's gonna take the temperature down. The benefit of having the deep fryer here is because it regulates the temperature automatically. So once I drop this chicken in there, it's gonna sense that the temperature is dropping and raise it back up. So FYI. And we're gonna get this into the basket. Now, I don't wanna crowd this basket. That's just me. But maybe you have a deeper fryer than I. And we're just gonna put really just as many as we can in here. Look at that, that's such an unacceptable piece of meat right there. That's gonna cook the fastest of all of them.
That's those wings they be giving to you when they be like 25-cent wings.
Yeah.
That's the wing you get.
That's definitely a 25-cent wing right there. And then from here, all we do is just drop our wings into our oil. and we set our timer for around 7 minutes. Smaller wings won't take as long. They may take only 5 minutes, but the beautiful thing about wings is they have such a great range of forgiveness. You can go either from like 175 to 199, totally fine. So we're gonna set our timer for 7 minutes, which let me do that right now before I forget, because again, I've been drinking. Let's get our wings out. Visually, you can kind of tell they're nice and golden brown. Some old school grannies in the South will tell you, you gotta wait for them to float. So let's see. That one's at 184, perfect. That one's at 176, perfect. So these are good to go. So I'm gonna let these hang out for a second here. Let them just kind of drip dry. Literally only needs like 1 or 2 minutes. And then from there, we'll take it to this bowl. We'll toss them in the sauce and then we'll start plating. But I gotta let these cool. And also, you never wanna put your wings into a cold sauce. So I've had the entire time our sauce back there just on a very, very, very low simmer, because I do not want it to be cold when these go in. So 1 minute, we'll toss and we'll plate. Because one bottle wasn't enough. We made it to the end. Not as drunk as the first time, but pretty drunk. 10,000 subscribers in the next year. I am speaking it into existence. And I'm sorry, YouTube, but adults like adult content. Let's eat our wings. Now, you guys already know I'm gonna think it's delicious, but maybe I'll surprise you. I won't. Absolutely amazing. 100 Chipotle wings. A great addition to your parties, your summer grilling, your summer frying. Because honestly, this sauce works well on fried and grilled wings. I know because I have done it already. My mouth is watering because it wants to eat more of these, so I'm probably gonna start slobbering soon. But that is Poor Choices Kitchen. Thank you so much for sticking with us for the entire year. I know I got mad sauce in my mouth. I don't give a care. We will be back next week for more ridiculousness, and thank you for sticking it out with us. And again, we're gonna get that $100 check from Google. Can't wait. And then we'll buy some Pepsis or something. You know, the supply chain problem is a real deal. So I don't know, we'll get some oranges and Pepsi. That'll be it. See you next week.